Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Glory Glory My Night podcast on a very disappointing evening at Old Trafford. It all started off so well with those two Sabitzer goals. It looks as if United were going to get more goals. It looked as if Sabitzer might even get a hat trick, but things went badly wrong in the second half. I think it started with
Mhm.
Varane having to come off for Harry Maguire, and then we ended up. And made, I think Ten Hag made a series of bizarre substitutions. Ended up conceding two own goals, and not only is the tie looking in jeopardy now, but our whole season looking in jeopardy with the injuries to Varane and Martinez. It could be out for the first half of next season as well. If it's an Achilles injury, it looks really bad. So all in all, an absolute catastrophe of a night. What was your thoughts on it, Orest? Who's joining me for the first time?
Yeah, man, big up for me on. Yeah, it feels like a loss, man. It really does. Obviously, first half, I thought we were very good. I thought we should have scored more than two goals because we had chances. But yeah, first half was good, but second half, man, I don't know what happened second half. For me, Ten Hag, man, his subs, it was wrong, man. For me, I just thought as soon as he took up Bruno Fernandes, I thought it was a bit slow for me. But yeah, I mean, Ten Hag got it wrong. Obviously, for Martinez, for me, I generally think top four might be gone now because next week, obviously, second leg, I think we'll be without Rashford, we'll be without Luke Shaw, I think we'll be without Varane. So, I'm not confident for this weekend. So, yeah, it feels like a loss, man. And there's always Sevilla, man. Now, we still haven't beaten Sevilla now, so which is frustrating. But, I mean, listen, second leg, I'm only glad that Casemiro is not suspended, but yeah, there's a lot of work for us in the second leg.
Yeah, massive amount of work to do. If everyone could please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and get your comments in the live chat. And it's great to have you on the show for the first time, Morris. The link to your show's in the description, Orest Talks Football.
Yeah,
So good to have you on. Not the perfect circumstances to be on the show for the first time, but good to have you on all the same.
yeah, man, make up family on.
Um, yeah, let's start from the beginning. It all was going so well. Sancho had the ball in the back of the net. I think that's where his night peaked, to be honest. Um, and then Sabitzer scored two goals. He was absolutely flying, and it looked as if we were going to get more. Even in the second half, we had opportunities to get more. Anthony obviously hit the post. Malassi had a big chance before he scored his own goal. But yeah, it's hard to believe when you think where we were at half time. It's hard to believe we are where we are now. Not only was it a draw, but we lost really important players in this game.
Yeah,
Hopefully, the extent of Varane's knock, whatever he picked up in the first half, is not serious because we're really going to need him now. Because if Maguire and Lindelof is going to be our partnership for the rest of the season, we're in big trouble, aren't we?
listen, man, it reminds me of the early days, man. I don't want to see that punishment, man. I really don't. But for me, man, Varane's made out of glass, man. What can you say? But for me, it just shows that we need to get a centre back this summer, man. It's vital. Also, obviously, our position as well. But yeah, I mean, I thought he was poor today, man. In general, I thought Manasseh was poor today.
Oh, he was absolutely brutal. That's one of the worst performances. Probably is the worst performance that he's had for Manchester United so far. Malacia, it was similar to Avra's debut against Manchester City. In
Mm,
2006, it was absolutely dreadful. Shaw gets criticism for his defending at times, but tonight just showed how much we miss him. You said there at the beginning that you think Shaw is going to miss the second leg. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully he's back as soon as possible because we
oh
need
yeah,
players back because we're dropping like flies at the moment, aren't we?
100%, man. Today was not there because obviously today we had Ericsson, Marshall back now, injuries now, so we need sure. You never, for me, Ten Hag might try out Luke Shaw in the centre back position because he might not trust Maguire and Lindelof. So we could see obviously Luke Shaw filling in that centre back position because he has played there before, and I don't think he's played bad. So we might see a Shaw and I don't know Shaw and Maguire, but I don't want to see those two partnerships. But yeah, for me, we need Luke Shaw as soon as possible for me, but I don't think he'll be available for this weekend.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. Hopefully Shaw is available as soon as possible. But yeah, I was talking on the way home in the car about the
Mm.
possibility of Casemiro playing centre back, and that's what I would go for because, like you, I don't want to see that partnership again. I mean, if Maguire and Lindelof were starting at Wembley or starting in Seville, we are in big trouble. I do not trust them two at all. And I agree with your point that we need to sign a centre back this summer because, like you say, Varane's made out of glass. Martinez is now out for God knows how long. Yeah, I think it's not even a suggestion to sign a centre back now. It's absolutely vital.
Yeah.
If Martinez is going to miss about 9 months, then yeah, we have no other option. We need to sign. I know centre forward is vital, but definitely centre back looks vital now as well. Um, yeah, it was just the substitutions. We have to come to that because, first of all, Maguire came on for Varane, which I presume is a knock. I haven't heard what the
Mm.
manager's explanation yet. And then that those three substitutions that he brought on at 2-0, like the subs that he made was as if we were 5-0 up and cruising. It was still
Exactly. Yeah.
it was 2-0 in the first leg, and he brought on Ilanga, Veghorst, and Ericsson. Now, Ericsson coming on, I have no issue with.
Yeah.
Um, but bringing on Elanga and Veghorst, now probably Anthony Martial, he could only play 60 minutes. That was probably pre-planned. Um,
Mm.
but Elanga, why would you bring on Elanga ahead of Pellistri? We know Elanga offers absolutely nothing on Pellistri. Even the second touch of the ball, he created a chance. The one where Veghorst laid it off for Malacia, whose shot was blocked in the end. Can you understand why he would bring on Elanga before Pellistri? Makes no sense to me.
It makes absolutely no sense, man. I got frustrated when I saw that because you're 2-0 up. 2-0 for me is a risky score now. You need to go for the third one and bring on that Lango, which for me offers absolutely nothing. Maybe, okay, you can say pace, and that's it. I think Ten Hag only brought on them because of pace. That's it, really. Speed and stuff, but it makes absolutely no sense for me. And it's, it's the substitution that cost the game, man. It really did because, yeah, I think Martial is understandable because maybe he can't play the full 90, so he took him off a workhorse. And for me, that it slowed the game down. So I just didn't understand why Lango came on before Pedestri. It baffled me.
Yeah, it probably baffled everyone in the stadium as well. And then what was the final substitution again? Yeah, Pellistri eventually did come on then for
Yeah.
Anthony, who was on a yellow.
Mm.
And then after that, Leach gets the injury, and then we can't make a substitution. We're defending with 10 men. Now the defending by Malacia at the back post for the first goal. You do not let the ball go when you got someone behind you. Absolutely, that's basic stuff. And then Maguire. Only Maguire. That could only happen to Maguire, or a centre forward has a header that's going a mile wide, and it just hits Maguire in the face and wrong foots
No,
to Gea and into the corner. Like it wouldn't happen to Varane, would it? It could only be Harry Maguire. Absolute disaster.
no, exactly. It can only be him, but yeah, it can only be Maguire because I thought so before he did that. I thought his passes were a bit good, but yeah, that second one, man, it's just the Maguire, man. There's always it had to be Maguire doing that, but listen, those two goals, man, they were just too stupid. The goals that we let them in, but it's just frustrating.
Yeah, and Seville, they proved just how mediocre they really are tonight. They're not a good team. They were there for the taking, and it's just something about them in the Europa League. Even when they're bad, they get lucky
I
and
think they
things go
turn
their
up.
way.
They turn up because I've seen big European competition. They love see they love this competition. I think they won that 3 times now, so they love to turn up in this competition. But second leg is going to be interesting, man. We will be obviously Bruno's suspended, so it is going to be interesting, man. It really is. It really is.
Yeah, these next three games are going to be huge, especially with all these injuries. Now we're by no means guaranteed to go to the City ground on Sunday and get 3 points. If they score first, then we're going to be on the ropes, especially with the makeshift back four we're going to be playing. If Malacia is so bad that if Shaw is not available, he's going to have to play Dallo at left back or something and get creative. It's going to be a real makeshift back four on Sunday. You can see it. I'm really worried now about the next three games and the rest of the season as a whole. Now just when we were getting Ericsson back, Casemiro back, then we've got the two centre backs injured and Rashford injured. It's just not happening for us. We're getting no luck at all with the injuries in this crucial part of the season. It's just going badly wrong. But just to come to Anthony, I thought he had a really good game.
Yeah.
Probably one of our best attacking players, probably the best,
Mm.
apart from Zabitzer. And he was unlucky when he hit the post.
Yeah.
And he was a threat all night down that right hand side. Um, he was getting a bit feisty with is it
Acuna.
what do you call that?
Yeah.
Acuna,
Acuna.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Argentinian.
That was funny,
Um,
man. It was funny to see that. Obviously, a bit of Brazil Argentina rivalry, but nah. I thought Anthony was brilliant, man. I really did. I thought, but see, there's some chance that for me, I'm the one that backs Anthony. I think he's a good player, but on these situations where he has one-on-one, he needs to take the chances. But yeah, I thought he was good today, man. Anthony, like. I think especially first half, he was brilliant, but it's the chances that I need to take.
if I had one criticism, I'd like to see him shoot to the near post instead of
Mm.
always trying to curl it into the far
Yeah,
corner all the
yeah,
time. Just vary it a bit. What he's doing a wee bit more of now is going down the line and trying to cross it in with his right foot at least one or two times a game. So I like to see that creeping into his game as well. So he's obviously definitely going to start on Sunday the way he's playing. He's played well in most games recently. He just hasn't got that goal
mm,
for quite a while now. So Sunday would be a great time to start scoring because um, Sabitzer
yeah,
has stepped up tonight in the absence of Rashford, and we're going to need other players to do likewise.
yeah.
Sabitzer's another player that's guaranteed to start on Sunday, given his performance.
Oh yeah,
I,
100%.
I have to mention the Sevilla right back, Gonzalo Montiel. What an absolute cheat that guy is. I mean, a gust of wind would have blown that guy over. He was going down under the smallest of challenges. Even the Veghorst one, where the hand sort of caught him in the face, and he was rolling around. He got treatment from the physio. Then he came back on, and he was yapping at Veghorst again, and he went down under I think it was a challenge from somebody else, and he was rolling around, and it was embarrassing. He's a grown man, and it's just you see no shame at all. Like you see this a lot, in European football, and even in the Premier League, players rolling around, but I've never seen anything quite like that for a long time. It was
For
just
me,
blatant,
for me,
blatant
it's
cheating,
always the
wasn't it?
Spanish sides. I reckon it's always the Spanish sides that they like to cheat and obviously waste time on the floor, man. It's annoying, but yeah, he was shocking, man. Today, man, he was absolutely shocking. Always on the floor. This is why I don't get with these referees, man. They need to add more time. Like the amount of minutes that they spend on the floor, they need to be added more. But listen, yeah, he was absolutely disgusting, man. Absolutely
He was
disgusting.
when Sevilla were defending against on a Man United attack. He's supposed to be the right back, and he's on the floor holding his back, and there's nothing wrong with him. Yet his team were defending. It was just an absolute disgrace, to be honest. Just going to come to comment from Connor Beatty here. He says new ownership needed, sorted before the summer window to buy in the summer. Yeah, absolutely. Signing Sabitzer for the prem deal after tonight should be enough. Yeah, I think that should be an easy decision now for the manager to sign Sabitzer on a permanent deal. But I suppose it will come down to whether Thomas Tuchel wants to keep him or not. And if he does, then Sabitzer will have to make the choice himself why he wants to play for United or Bayern. Hopefully, he's enjoying life at Old Trafford because he's playing games. With Bayern, he wasn't playing. So if Bayern want to keep him and United want to sign him, surely the simple choice is to go back to Old Trafford because he's playing games, whereas Barney wasn't. Is that how you see it as well?
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. I think it's a bit so. I think so this summer he said that he's gonna sort out his situation. I reckon that we'll definitely get him on a permanent, man. If you had to pick between us or Bayern, you'll probably pick us because as you said, I don't think he's guaranteed game time under Tuchel for next season. So listen, he's already getting a lot of game time. I think he's had more game time under United than he had Bayern this season. So it just proves you. So for me, I definitely think that we'll get him in a permanent, man. But I also want another 2 to 3 midfielders because obviously if we have the same board, they'll probably think Sabitzer is the only midfielder that we can get, and then they'll forget about the others. But for me, I really like Sabitzer, man. He's been a very good player on the Ten Hag.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need another midfielder, regardless of whether Sabitzer stays or not, and I think that is on the agenda. We know the manager
Yeah,
will bring De Jong in tomorrow if he got the opportunity. But the question is, does Frankie De Jong want to come to Old Trafford? Last summer, it didn't really seem like he did. I know it wasn't his when we were playing them. Didn't his girlfriend make a joke about that? Frankie's going to be in Manchester.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Um,
think all the tensions on Drew Bellingham now for United now. All eyes on Bellingham and Alex McAllister that I've seen. So who knows what's going to happen this summer, man.
Yeah, the only thing is Bellingham could cost 130 million pounds. We're not. I don't think, like Liverpool, we won't want to blow our budget on one player. Especially when we have to sign a striker this
Yeah,
summer. So if he's going to cost that kind of money, I don't see it happening. We have to look elsewhere. Yeah, so a lot of work to be done in the summer. Another thing worth noting is that Fred is getting no game time now.
yeah.
Now we made five substitutions and Fred still didn't feature. Are you surprised that Fred's so far down the pecking order? And McTominay wasn't even available tonight, so it's amazing, isn't it?
I'm surprised, man, with Fred. Maybe something's obviously there's something on going on behind the scenes with Ten Hag and Fred, but I'm surprised, I'm really am because I was expecting Fred to come on for a bit, but yeah, he didn't even come on at all today. So I'm surprised. Maybe obviously Ten Hag doesn't think that he's good enough to be a starter. Maybe only to come on from the bench, but that's one to look out for with Fred because maybe Ten Hag. Listen, we never know. Maybe Ten Hag wants to sell him in the summer. See, with McTominay, I think he had a little injury, so he couldn't make the squad for tonight. But yeah, with Fred, it's surprising because I don't think he came on against Everton as well. So yeah, it's quite surprising for today.
Yeah. If Casemiro goes to centre back, then Fred might be used then on Sunday in midfield. But it's hard to predict what the lineups are going to be in the next few games with all these injuries totting up. I've no idea what kind of team he's going to select, but I can guarantee it's going to be a mix of back four. And the last thing we need now there was some nice stuff being played by Martial in the first half. He was
Yeah,
involved in the goals. The last thing we need now is him to pick up another injury because uh, we're in trouble when we relying on Martial's fitness because there's so many injuries elsewhere, particularly to Rashford. So if he drops, then we really are in trouble because even though I love the way Vikhorst chases down the goalkeeper, he presses a lot, puts him under pressure. He just doesn't offer anything in terms of goals. Now, I mentioned that chance that Malacia had where it was charged down by like three defenders. World class centre forward doesn't knock it out to Malacia there. He swivels and puts it into the corner, doesn't he?
yeah, he does. He does. I think Virgil should have passed. I think Elanga was open as well, but yeah, there was other options, but I don't know. I was expecting Weghorst to obviously turn the defender and have a shot, but I don't know why he would pass it back to Manasseh. But I think we could have scored way more than 2 goals, but it just wasn't our day today, man. For the second half, it wasn't our half. So yeah, we just have to rely on Martial not to get injured now. But, yeah.
And another thing to worry about is that the second leg is going to be a really competitive game. What I wanted was to win this match 4-5, and then we can make changes in the second leg and just play in second gear. But now this is going to be a tough game. The tie is alive, and we've got Brighton in the FA Cup semi-finals 3 days later, less than 3 days later, after being away in Seville and involved in a tough game. So I'm really worried that we're going to be knackered by the time the FA Cup semi-final starts. Are you concerned about that as well, Orest?
Yeah, I am concerned because fixtures are coming in thick and fast now, so games are coming in thick and fast. So it depends if Tenno rotates because I don't see him rotate. I mean, listen, we have to take every game in point anyways, but Tenno doesn't like rotating, so there's going to be a lot of injuries, man. There really is. Just hopefully they don't like with Martial or Anthony. Hopefully they don't get injured, but we just have to try and keep a good squad for the Brighton game. And I'm not looking forward to the Brighton game for the FA Cup, man. I'm really not because Brighton, if you look at them, they're a really, really good team on the December. So I'm not looking forward to that. Second leg, man. Obviously, Is the record passed as well? If you look before, we lost, we got knocked out to them as well. So I'm not looking forward to the second leg. It's gonna be intense. It's gonna be um, very interesting to see what happens in the next few days for me. But just have to pray and hope nothing um, gets serious for us.
It looks like the Mickey Mouse treble is going down the drain, hasn't it? It doesn't look good at the moment, does it? uh,
Uh,
if if we can progress in one of those competitions next week, then I'll probably take it at this stage because we're just dropping like flies at the moment, and we're going to be playing players ideally that we don't want to see in the starting 11 and that are no longer good enough to be playing for us, sadly, like Maguire and Lindelof being the obvious ones, and Malacia, who's obviously just atrocious, to be honest with you. What did you make of Jadon Sancho's performance tonight? Now, like I said, he had the ball in the back of the net after 1 or 2 minutes. And then there's so much sloppy play and bad decision making from Sancho. There's one ball in particular where he tried to, and Malacia was running in behind, and he tried to play it to him, and there just was the direction on the ball was awful. It was
mm,
nowhere near Malacia, and he was substituted in the end. Jane Sancho, he's just he looks good in moments, and then and then he looks really average as well. He just looks like a player that's kind of short in confidence still, doesn't he?
yeah, I agree with you. I thought Sancho on the ball. I don't think he was that great today. I thought his tracking back was horrendous as well, man. That's one thing Sancho needs to work on is his tracking back. So, yeah, I thought he was a bit poor today, man. Obviously, first half it was okay, but listen, there was chances where one chance he could have played Malacia free, as you said, but yeah, I don't think Sancho was it today, man. But listen, Sancho can keep his head high because honestly, you just have to focus on the next game. But today, he just wasn't it today, man. I don't know what's up with Sancho, but yeah, I mean, on the ball, he wasn't that good for me.
Yeah, very very disappointing again, and he's running out of chances, isn't he? How many chances is he going to get to
Mm.
reignite reignite his Old Trafford career is never really ignited. We're still waiting for that to happen. We're not really seeing the player that we saw in all those clips at Dortmund. And he had 3 months out this season. Obviously with lack of fitness and obviously psychological problems, but he's come back. He's had the odd wee moment. He's got the odd wee goal, but overall it's been hugely disappointing again. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in the summer. If Ten Hag is really ruthless, he could get rid of him as well. But it all depends on how much players we're able to bring in, of course. But yeah, like you say, Anthony does need to work on his tracking back because he does that superbly. Sancho really needs to take a leaf out of Anthony's book when it comes to that. So I'm just going to quickly do some player ratings. This will be interesting. I don't know where I'm going to go with this. So David De Gea, I can't really blame anything on him. So I suppose 2 goals did go past him though. So I just have to say a 5. Wan-Bissaka, I think he was all right tonight. I don't think anything was he was to blame for anything that went wrong. So probably a 6 for Wan-Bissaka. Varane a 7. Oh, I didn't even get to mention that goal line clearance from Varane where he managed to
Yeah,
head it backwards. I think Harry Maguire would have tucked that away as well if it was him.
yeah, I agree, man.
So Varane a 7, Licha who's went off injured, which is a disaster. 6, Malacia probably a 1. Absolutely brutal performance. Casemiro a 6, um, Bruno a 6, Sabitzer an 8, um, Jane Sancho a 4, Anthony maybe a 6.5. Probably would have been higher than that if that chance went in where he hit the post. Martial probably a 6.5. Decent enough game from him. Hopefully he stays fit. And then the substitutes. Um, now come on, Harry Maguire. Yeah, it's a 4 for me, and that's being generous. After that home goal. Um, Ericsson probably a 6. Alanga a 4, and Vikhorst a 5. Um, and who's the and Palestri came on. I didn't really get much. Can't really give him a score. He wasn't on
Yeah,
the field long enough. Um, And Ten Hag, he had an absolute mare tonight, to be honest with you. So probably a three for our Ten Hag. And it'd be interesting to see after the show and probably watch the interviews. Is Ten Hag going to admit that he contributed to the disaster that unfolded in the second half? Do you think he'll be honest about it?
I think Tanag, I think he'll admit that he got it wrong, but usually, I don't, you know what? I've never seen Tanag admit that he got something wrong. You know, I think he's always saying about the players and stuff, but I think tonight, I think he's gonna say, yeah, I think he was I think he was wrong with the subs, but surely he's got to admit that in some aspects he was wrong because I thought subs, man. I mean, sorry, but subs, come on, man. You got to say that you was wrong because it changed the game. It changed the whole game. So I'm expecting Tanog to say something, but listen, I expect Tanog to change for the second leg and improve. That, but listen, tonight it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see if he takes some accountability. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's okay him mentioning that the players played poorly, but and he has done that. But like you say, he's never taken responsibility himself, and tonight he really should because he contributed to it massively with those substitutions. That's another thing. I forgot to mention Bruno Fernandes is suspended for the second leg. It just gets worse and worse and worse, doesn't it?
Yeah. It does, it does. And for me, that was the harshest. This is a yellow card ever, man. I'm sorry, but for me, I would even go that was worse than the Martins one in the Europa League, man. I'm sorry, but what's Bruno Fernandes meant to do there? But yeah, these refs, man. Sorry, but it's not a yellow card because I remember that foul. What's the name again? Lamela did it on Casemiro. If Casemiro did it to Lamela, he would have got a straight red. So I'm sorry, but the ref tonight, man. I'm sorry, but he should. Listen, he was poor tonight, man. That ref was poor. I'm sorry, but it's too harsh for me.
He was, yeah. The referee lost control of the game. He just looked like a total amateur out there. And what does he want Bruno to do? Cut his arm off? It was just a joke, to be honest with you. The Casemiro incident and with Lamella. Here's my thoughts on it. I think there was no intent at all by Lamella, and wasn't complaining when the red card wasn't given. But I totally agree with you when you say that if it was the other way around, Casemiro walks, because that just seems the way things have been falling for Casemiro this season. Whenever there's a 50-50 decision to make, then he goes. But aside from that, I didn't have a problem with Lamela not being sent off because I don't think there was any intent in it. It wasn't like the Gerrard stamp on Ander Herrera 8 years ago,
Mm,
where that was very very deliberate.
yeah,
That wasn't for me. So I think they came to the right decision. But yeah, like you say, Casemiro probably would have been sent off for it. And I'm worried now. Anytime Casemiro goes to ground, I'm like, oh no, no, he's going to get carded and suspended. Because of course he was on a yellow tonight, and if he got booked, then he would have missed the return leg as well. And we can't afford that with Bruno being out. But do we have to mention though that Casemiro, he looked off the pace tonight. He really lacked match sharpness, didn't he? You could tell he hadn't played many games in the last 4 weeks.
100%. I thought today his fitness. I thought it was poor, man. But just shows you, man. It just shows you that he needs to stop against Swin because for me, if he keeps playing matches, I think he'll be fine. But today, man, I thought he looked off. He looked off today, man. He really did.
Yeah, and like Brush says here, I don't. He doesn't have the energy to even be pissed after what happened to. Yeah, and it's bad when two Sevilla players who are Argentinian teammates were carrying him off the field. And there was nobody around him when he went down, so it seems to be a very serious Achilles injury. I seen a journalist say on Twitter that it's a common injury in basketball, and he could miss. He could be out to next January. That's how bad it is. So that's deeply depressing, to be honest with you. I'm desperate now to find out the diagnosis on Varane because we really need him available now because and then we're just down to the Ollie partnership at the back, unless he gets creative and plays Casemiro there. Or you mentioned Luke Shaw potentially playing centre back when he comes back, but that's going to mean Malacia playing at left back, and that's no thank you from me after tonight's performance. I wouldn't trust Malacia for the rest of the season now, because imagine if Malacia started at the City Ground on Sunday, its confidence is going to be on the floor, and it could turn into yet another disaster. We concede an early goal and the heads go down, and it seemed to be that his once he made a few mistakes, Malacia, he just seemed to be his head was gone. He wasn't even doing the basics anymore. He's running the opposite way to the play was going at times. You're like, what are you doing? Yeah, we cannot afford for him to start on Sunday at the City Ground. Would you agree, Orst?
Yeah, I would agree. I would, if Luke Shaw's fit, I would start him. As you said, Malacia today, he was poor, man. Probably the worst. Actually, not the worst, but one of the worst performances in the United today. But yeah, Luke Shaw, if he's fit, hopefully he's fit, then he needs to go back into the lineup for me. We can't play Malacia this weekend.
Definitely not. Ten Hag has said that Fernandez and Anthony were substituted because they were warned by the referee that they were, one more tackle away from being sent off. And he said on Leche that I can't say what the diagnosis is. I prefer to wait. So he hasn't. It obviously isn't much of an update on that one at
Oh,
the
there's an
moment.
update. Tenag says that Marcus Rashford is likely to play next week, second leg against Sevilla.
Well, that is a massive, massive boost. Finally, some good news tonight.
Yeah, there's a chance apparently you can listen. It's gonna be tough. I know. Yes, Rashford, if he's fit, but it's still gonna be tough even with Rashford. But let's hope, man. Let's hope because we need him for next week. That's the main thing.
Yeah, Ten Hag says there is, in quotes, a chance that Marcus Rashford is fit for Seville next week, and that will be a massive boost, a timely boost. But even if we have all our forwards and midfielders available, we're going to be playing a mix of back four now in the coming weeks, and what I'm trying to even think what the back four will even look like on Sunday. Now it could be Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof, and Malacia. That's one of the worst case scenarios. Or you could play Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro, Maguire, and Shaw if he's available. That's probably the best case scenario. Um, yeah, it all depends on who's available. But it's not looking great in terms of the back four. What do you make of them constantly playing it around when there's a goal kick? De Gea knocks it sideways to someone, and then someone like Maguire knocks it back to De Gea, and then he plays it out to Wan-Bissaka, and then we're being pressed. We're under pressure. This happens in every game now, and it really gives me severe anxiety. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, same with you, man. I mean, it's like stressful to watch that, man. Whenever the hair does that, it's honestly stressful. So yeah, I mean, there has got to he's got to learn something else, man. He's got to every time he has a goal kick, he needs to have a different plan because he needs to stop doing that because there's gonna be moments where they slip up and then they score. So he just needs to change it, man, because it's stressful to watch this, man. It's only it honestly is.
Yeah, definitely. David McDonald, who covers United for the Mirror, says that there's concern at Old Trafford that Lisandro Martinez has snapped his Achilles tonight, and it could rule him out for several months. Yeah, that is the worst case scenario, and it didn't look good when he's been carried off by two of his Argentina teammates. But yeah, well, have to hope for the best in that one, but it doesn't look great. Um, so all in all, it turned out to be a very, very frustrating night after such a good start. On Sunday, we're playing a team that are, relegation fodder, but it's away from home. We have a really poor away record. We now have a bunch of injuries. No Rashford, Martinez, and probably not Varane either. I know obviously Ericsson and Casemiro are not match fit. So taking all that into account, are you confident that United can get 3 points on Sunday, Orest?
I think I'm nervous, man, but I think we should get the job done, but it's not going to be good enough because I think Forest. I think they've done okay at home against the top 16. So I think it's going to be an interesting one. But I just think whoever gets the first goal is going to be interesting now because if Forest get the first goal, I think they'll win. But I think if we get the first goal, then we should build the momentum, get the second goal. But for me, it's all about who gets the first goal. It's gonna be a great match, but let's hope we can win.
Yeah, it could be chaotic. There could be goals at both ends, but if we win a 3-2, I'll be happy. But yeah, if things could have gone really badly wrong here, if we were to not win on Sunday, then get knocked out of the Europa League and the FA Cup, that's just the worst case scenario, isn't it? That hopefully we can remain in the hunt for one of those trophies. But like I said earlier, it's the likelihood of us winning 3 trophies this season is just absolutely collapsed after what's happened tonight. So look at the injury list there: Garnacho, Shaw, Rashford, Leach, and Varane. All of those are really, really good players. That's quite often the frustration at United. It's never the bad players who get injured. It's always the players that you rely on to get injured. I find that really, really annoying. But yeah, we got to hope that we can. I don't care by hook or by crook. We have to get the points on Sunday. I don't care whether the performance is bad or not. Just as long as we get over the line, that's the main thing. And if Rashford's available for Seville, that's a huge boost. So if everyone could please subscribe to the channel and get your likes in on the video, and then comment your thoughts down below. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show for the first time, Orest.
Yeah, no worries, man. Appreciate the invite.
And the link is in the description of
Yeah,
Orest's show, Orest Talks Football. Okay, I'll probably have you on again before the end of the season, and I'll see you later.
yeah, man. Take care. Appreciate the invite.
No problem.